Get ready for takeoff because it's a take flight talk. It is your pilots officially. First official episode as all co-pilots. We have James Wudi over here. We have Fitz over there. And we got Abby. It is take flight talk. And for the first time, but not the last time, all right, the first annual Abby announced it. We got the Take Flight Talk Awards. Okay. I mean, hey, these Jets, they battled, at some points of the season, and now it's time to award specific people on the New York Jets. Before we get into the nominations, I want to go around. I need to know how everybody's feeling. So, Fitz, start us off. How are you feeling? With these awards, first annual Take Flight Talk.
Well, I think the nicest thing about doing this is we actually were to do it when the season actually ended. I think in years past, this is our first year doing Take Flight Talk, but in years past, how former seasons went, by about week 10, we'd be eligible to start doing a recap on the season. So we made it to week 17 with playoff, hopes, which is more than we could ask for before the season ended. So I'm excited to go around and hear what we all say. I mean, we've got a very exciting, very young team. These awards that we put together here that were fan chosen for these different, options for, team leaders. I think it's going to be telling of who we're most excited about going into next year. We got fun pieces both on the field and off the field. We've got funniest player and a few other awards that we're excited to do with you guys. So, this is going to be a good blend of talent and, some of the other things that these players bring to the team, such as team morale and such. So I'm excited. This is going to be a fun segment.
I mean, I'm excited too, obviously, first annual. I'm just so hyped because everyone was so engaged with our page and voting and everything like that. So I appreciated that and kind of everyone coming up with what we should vote on and things like that. So, but yeah, we have a good team and we can only go up from here. Obviously, I'm still sad. Every time I think I was watching the game last night, or the Miami, and I was over here like the Jets should have been here, but I need to get over it, move on. We got to look forward to next year already and stuff like that. So, Wudi, how you feeling?
I mean, it's definitely tough watching each and every one of these games. Just some of these QBs that are out here, and just seeing offenses score touchdowns, which we haven't done in weeks. And yeah, it's tough. But like you said, we can only go up from here. There are a lot of pieces that make me excited for this, for this next season. So, looking back at the past season, I hope not everybody, just thinks it was a complete wash, because there are a lot of things that were developed, and I think we're going to talk about a few of those people tonight. So, jet up, and next year, I mean, we better be in these damn playoffs, what I'm saying? We better be in there. So that's all I got to say about that. But hey, I think it's time for the first nomination. Let's talk about them. Joe Douglas with one of the greatest draft classes in the history of the NFL draft. Okay, we got multiple rookies making an impact, almost all of them really making an impact, but there can only be one TFT Rookie of the Year. Abby, who is your selection? Who is your nomination? First ever nomination.
Oh, man. I mean, this was kind of hard. This is a very tough decision. And I'm sure we kind of all are thinking similarly or on the same page, but I went ahead and wrote down Garrett Wilson. Obviously, first rookie in a while to break that 1,000 yards. And I honestly can't help but think if we had a competent quarterback, he would have gone over, like, what was his final number, like 1,200 or something like that?
1,103 or something like that.
Yeah. He would have gone well over that. And I think, too, the one thing that makes me kind of lean towards him is just his personality off the field. he is one of the most mature players on that field, and he's also one of the youngest at the same time. And just kind of how he carries himself after the games, he's very much kind of a yeah, I'm happy I got this and I did this, but it doesn't matter if my team's not winning or we're not going to the playoffs or things like that. So that is why I went ahead with G-Dub number 17. So
Fitz, you're up.
He was number 1. Sauce Gardner. This guy, I mean, Garrett or Sauce Gardner put on an absolute clinic in his first year. I mean, this guy, for him to come in from University of Cincinnati and put up 20 pass deflections over the course of the year, led the league with 20 passes deflected this season. Still came in top 5 on the team for most tackles with 75 total tackles, 2 interceptions. I mean, this guy was nothing short of lockdown this year. You know, he went up against we in fairness, you know, this Jets team did go up against a small handful of second string, third string quarterbacks this season, just how the cards fell. But despite that, this guy locked down number 1 wide receiver after number wide receiver all season. You put this guy in man coverage against any wide receiver in the NFL, he stood up against them. And he just, in his first season, impressed to be a first-team All-Pro as a rookie. I don't remember the last time that's happened in Jets history. It's been a long time since we've even had multiple first-team All-Pros on the team. Typically, we're like, oh, you know, we should have had at least one guy make the Pro Bowl. That's usually what we're complaining about. Sauce Gardner, I mean, this guy is he is just phenomenal. And I think he's a really tough one to beat. You know, when he got just the accolades across the NFL of everyone putting him at such a high. People are talking about him being a top 3 corner in the league in his first year. I mean, that's an incredible feat. And I'm a proud Sauce Gardner jersey owner. My favorite jersey I have, the only jersey I'm able to actually wear on NFL Sundays this season when I have a Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore otherwise. So I can't speak more highly about Sauce Gardner. Number 1's my guy.
All right. Well, my nomination, all right, we talk about Rookie of the Year, and this Jets year can be broken down into with Breece Hall and post Breece Hall because this man was the engine through which we ran our entire organization. At the time of his injury, he was the odds-on favorite to be the Rookie of the Year, the Offensive Rookie of the Year for the NFL. And the man, he played 7 games. But who is our rushing leader for the 2022 season? Breece Hall in 7 games. I mean, the man, he did it all. And it wasn't just in the rushing game, right? He was catching passes. That one beautiful wheel route against the Dolphins, the 79 yards, you know, making Zach Wilson look good. He had half of Zach Wilson's passing yardage with that one play that game. I mean, Breece is a stud. And I like what you guys were saying in terms of accolades. Abby, you was talking about up here, Garrett and the maturity. I mean, Breece Hall, he has an uncle that's in the Hall of Fame, all right? Hall of Fame running back Roger Craig is his uncle, always in his ear. I mean, I think that Breece, the future is bright, but the present was bright, all right? 5-2 with him, and then I don't even want to say our record without him. But, you know, he even though it was just 7 games, his impact just lasted throughout the whole season. We weren't able to do it. And you know, Bam is decent. You know, MC took a step back, but you know, we had running backs, but none of them even came close to Breece Lightning. So there you have it. All right. Our 3 nominations: Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall, Rookie of the Year. We'll be able to vote next 2 days and see who gets that honor. We got more awards. To go through. So Defensive Player of the Year. Let's talk about it. Fitz, I'm going to give it to you this time to start off.
So you're going to hear a lot of this from me tonight. Sauce Gardner. I mean, this guy was just unreal this season. Give me more awards that are defensive oriented in this, award ceremony, because I'll give him all to Sauce. He deserves every one of them. I mean, this guy, again, I mean, for him to go and do what he did in his rookie campaign, a lot of people before this season started off were kind of writing him off as a little bit overrated because he was in Cincinnati. So for him to come in here, first team All-Pro for the Pro Bowl, again, I mean, so many wide receivers, he was able to keep absolutely locked down. Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase. I mean, this guy was a thorn in everybody's side. And the fact that he was chirping and the mouth on this kid where he's going and locking him down, they're all yelling, "Oh, pass interference." They're all trying to get in a flag. And he's like, yeah. And I think my favorite thing about Sauce is when a wide receiver is upset, either about him being a little handsy or just they're frustrated because they can't catch the damn ball when it's thrown to them. They'll get all pissed off and like get mad. And right when he gets the reaction of them mad, he's like, yeah. And like, I just love his whole attitude, how he approached the game, allowing, our front four to help him out. I mean, the front four helped him out tremendously. And I think there's a name that we know is going to be on this list here from one of you guys here shortly. But he was just an absolute problem. And, when they had to go and rush a pass because our front four was going on him, they certainly weren't looking at Sauce Gardner. And he was able to allow, that quick pass rush that we have to be so effective because there was no quick slants open because our main man, Sauce Gardner, was locking him down. So my guy, number one, now and forever, Sauce Gardner.
Now and forever. Well, You said that we were going to say one of these names. So allow me to nominate one of those names. Okay. Quinnen Williams, Q, if you will. He was a Pro Bowl alternate last year. Okay. And that seemed to be a big accomplishment for him at that time. We'll throw that accomplishment out the window because now this man is an all-pro. Okay, he is one of the best in the entire NFL in his position. And what makes him so special is that not only is he sacking people left and right, but he is such a disruptor in the run game as well. All right, he is stuffing runs and attacking quarterbacks. And you want to talk about swagger, all right, Sauce, with the Snow Angels. I mean, everybody in the Northeast knows exactly who we talking about when we out here doing with Q, because he has the swag, he has the juice, and he allows our elite cornerback group, right, to do their thing because he's in the backfield, right? Our front four, and we thought it was all about the edge rush, right? We were talking about Carl Lawson. When's Carl Lawson coming back? Well, guess what? Q's in the middle. And he's getting in the backfield time after time. All right, you already know. So Quinnen Williams, that is the Wudi nomination for Defensive Player of the Year. Abby, hit us with it.
I mean, you guys I had both of those people on the list, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with Wudi, and I'm going to take Quinnen. He had some of the best plays of the year. We're going to talk about the block kick at Green Bay, his little fingertips, whoop. And then one of my favorite plays of the year, Quinnen picking up the ball and stiff-arming Tyreek Hill. Get out of my way, big boy, running his ass through like a big old tractor. So, and like you said, he already got the little choo-choo train dance. And Wudi, I know you're going to agree with me. Pay that man. Pay that man. Keep him at all costs.
Where is my wallet? Joe Douglas, you better be hearing us right now. You do need to pay that man. It's overdue. It is overdue. And we'll talk about that. We'll be talking, as the offseason goes on. But you heard it. Quinnen ×2 and Sauce Gardner, your nominations for Defensive Player of the Year. All right, we got more awards coming. So, this is an interesting one. Most Improved Player. All right. Abby, I think I started with Fitz last time. I'm not even keeping track. Did you know? Should we flip a coin?
No, I can go. This one was another tough one for me. I just feel like even a lot of players improved, no matter how significant, or how small the improvements were. A lot of players improved this year. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw out Mike White. His progression from last year to this year, huge improvement. I know people are going to say he didn't win us games, kind of last half of the stretch. Okay, so he was hurt the last couple ones, broken, fractured ribs, 5 of them. So I'm going to not even pay attention to that last Seattle game. Okay, we're going to throw that out the window. But I think the biggest improvement to me, or what I saw on the field, was especially against the Buffalo Bills when we played them again this year, just how he improved. 4 interceptions last year. I know we didn't win. 0 this year, though. He really kind of stepped up. He was very good at getting the ball out quickly. Honestly, too, his energy in the locker room, he's very humble, which I so appreciate, but he has an energy where he doesn't have to say a lot. He doesn't have to do a lot, and this team will rally behind him. That who said that he's a soldier on the field? Was it MC that said that he's a dog, he's a soldier? I'll ride into war with him. And I think that just says a lot about who he is. So my nomination for most improved is going to be Mike effing White.
It's
Mike White's a great one. This one's tough. I think I was between a few different folks. I'm going to ride Quincy. Last season, Quincy, he had a lot more ups and downs, I think, last year. More downs, at least, last season than he did this year. Definitely brought the energy last season, all through the season, but a lot of open field missed tackles. Wasn't too great dropping back in coverage. I saw a pretty big jump with him this season. He wasn't perfect in coverage by any means this season, but I mean, this guy just brought the hit stick with him. I mean, if you went and caught a screen pass and Quincy Williams was out on that flank, good night. I mean, you're getting lit up, and you're getting the Quincy mash punch after he hits you too. This guy's a mean boy, man. He second in our team in total tackles, 106 total tackles. Still had 12 tackles for a loss, which is tremendous. 3 sacks. And even got a pass deflected this season too. This guy's just all over the field. We know what we're getting in CJ Mosley. He was a beast this season. I think he's probably a deep track, top 5 best defensive player on the team for sure. Probably between 3 and 4. But, Quincy was he made a big jump. Last season we saw a little bit too much of the hot and the cold. And I think he really mellowed out, really got his stuff together this season. He put together a tremendous year. So proudly supporting the other Williams brother in Mr. Quincy.
Yes. Okay. Both brothers walking away with a nomination tonight. Allow me to nominate somebody for this award. Last year he didn't even have a bad year. He had a pretty solid year. Not too many people were talking about him, but he had a pretty solid year. But I feel like the first person this year that was getting the phrase All Pro attached to their name was none other than Elijah Vera Tucker. You want to talk about the Breece Hall, post Breece Hall? I mean, is it the chicken or the egg? Because you can say Elijah Vera Tucker post Elijah. All right, because that offensive line just disintegrated without AVT. And let's talk about AVT, all right? Because Breece Hall is a running back. What's Elijah Vera Tucker? Is he a right guard? Or is he a left tackle? Is he a right tackle? He is whatever you need him to be. The man was dominating. He was playing musical chairs with his position, and he was dominating. It cannot be overstated how difficult that is in the NFL. Laken Tomlinson, the fakest Pro Bowler I've ever seen in my entire life, he is a left guard. All right. They said, do you want to move to the right? He was like, no, I only know how to play left guard. He can't play, by the way. He sucked this year. But he was like, no, I can only play on the left. George Fant. Hey, man, I'm 36 years old, man. I can only play on the left side. Elijah Vera Tucker, he was going left, right, left, right, left, right. He was doing whatever it took, and he didn't even allow a single sack. I think he allowed one pressure all year. He was the all-pro of this team. He was my pick at the time of his injury for the best Jet on the team. That is improvement because no one, not one person on planet Earth was saying that last year, but I'm saying it this year. And Elijah Vera Tucker, man, he showed us so much from so many different angles. He is my pick for most improved player for the Jets this year. So 3 incredible nominations. We had Mike effing White, Q, well, the other Q, Quincy Williams, and then Elijah Vera Tucker. We are at the halfway point of these awards. So let's kick on with the second half with the funniest New York Jet. Fitz, hit us with it.
So I'm going with my mustache brother, Mr. Dan Feeney. I've not had the pleasure to meet Dan Feeney to date. But considering he is so deeply entrenched in the inner circle of like the cool kids group on this Jets team, where he's going to all the games with, our quarterback, Zach Wilson, before the season starts. He's always kind of in that clique. He's making some jokes, on the sideline, get some airtime with the, New York Jets Snapchat when they're coming on and off the field. He better be funny because he absolutely sucks at football. And for him to go and be so closely knit with all these people, he's got to be freaking hilarious. Otherwise, he would not be anywhere near your first-string quarterback. He would not be anywhere near any of these players that are actually getting playing time. So this is kind of a little bit of a backhanded compliment I'm giving him here. But this guy's got to be hilarious considering his access to our top players. So I'm going Mr. Mustachio, Dan Feeney. Keep him off the field, but keep him in front of a mic because he's got to have jokes.
It's so funny because before this year, I would have been crazy to have the same mantra about this person. But right now, we might have to keep him off the field, but keep him in front of a mic because Michael Carter kind of took a step back. He took a step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back over here. But the man is hilarious. He was a great interview. Anytime the boy is mic'd up, it is must-see TV. Just hearing him sing, I don't even know. He is hilarious. He can literally do it all. The jokes, the singing, the rapping, just the swag. You can tell every single Jet genuinely enjoys his presence. If you watch One Jets Drive, he kills it on there. And my favorite quote by any Jet this season was getting prepared for the Bengals game. And, CJ Uzoma, they were warming up. And he walks over to CJ Uzoma. He was like, hey, last time, this was a matchup in this stadium, you got your ass waxed, huh, CJ? Just roasting him, just, out there keeping it light. So MC, he might need to step it up on the field, but in front of the camera, in front of the mic, definitely a big plus.
I mean, MC is definitely fun to watch. I just saw another clip of it when MC hit the little waddle in the end zone, and then Waddle went up to him after the game and was like, bro, they were both laughing. It's all fun and games. MC was a close one for me, but this is going to be the second time we brought him up, and I'm going to go ahead with Mr. Quincy Williams as the funniest Jet. Now, the New York Jets, they always have questions that they put up, and everyone's going up to the camera. There's a reason why Quincy is always answering all of those questions. He is in every single one of those videos. He showed up to, I think, Christmas Day that whole weekend, dressed up as the Grinch. And then they asked, what do elves listen to? And this man says Future. He listens to Future. He's for the streets. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Quincy. He's very entertaining, always supportive of his brother too. So obviously he has been good on and off the field. So I'm going with Quincy Williams.
Yes. So there you go. There's the trio. All right, Quincy, he's good both on and off. You best believe that. Dan Feeney, he don't need to be anywhere near on. And then Michael Carter, we'll figure that out next year. But those are the 3 nominees, 3 very funny New York Jets. And now, we got another award. Like we all know, I think this is a big one because there's so much disappointment in the past, right? And now we're looking forward to the future. Every single person that I think is watching this, that's a part of this, is excited for 2023. We're all excited for 2023. There's a playoff mandate from the fan base for 2023. So, with that being said, who is the number 1 New York Jet that you are most excited to see? Abby, start us off.
Oh, man. I brought up his name in the beginning, and I'm going to keep bringing up his name. I bring it up in my rants all the time. Garrett Wilson, a true star. Kid is absolutely phenomenal. And the reason I kind of picked him was because I brought it up earlier, if we had a competent QB, this kid would go off. And he would probably be a Pro Bowler this year. But just his talent, the quick spin moves he does, this man cannot be tackled. And you can try and tackle him all you want. It's not going to be tackled. He spin out and moves. Again, when he scores a touchdown, he's like, I'm here. What's up? And so if he went off in his rookie year, just imagine next year. And so that's why I'm going with G-Dub again. He's probably one of my favorite New York Jets. Probably going to be my next jersey. Hopefully. I haven't committed yet, but looking at him again. So.
Well, I got to say, I think we're all very excited for G-Dub next year. I don't know who's excited for my nomination next year, but I am. That's why I'm nominating him. Okay. And we can talk about, people that like Abby, right? You went the route of somebody who is this good right now. Imagine next year. Well, this past year, Mekhi Becton played 0 games, which is actually less, believe it or not, less than playing 1 game the year before that, right? Who is going to take the under there? I don't know. But he's been in the facility, all right? He's been there the last few months. He was there the first couple months before he got hurt. Now he's been there, and he's lost weight, man. He has lost weight. He is close to his combine weight, which means that we might have a left tackle or a right tackle. we might have one. And we're talking about AVT being healthy. Laken Tomlinson, who, I repeat, is an absolute bum, played his best football when Dwayne Brown was healthy next to him, right? Maybe that's what he needs. He needs a competent tackle next to him. And we should draft one. But if we don't, put Mekhi Becton there, put his little skinny butt down there, and let them do some work, because we need to be able to protect our quarterback, all right? We can't be having any other quarterbacks break 5 ribs in a game, and we need to open up these running holes, because if, we're relying on Bam still, if Bam is RB2 and MC is RB3, these guys don't have great burst. They have great vision, but not great burst. So that means we need big holes. And who's going to create a big hole? A 6'7" behemoth like Mekhi Becton. He knows that this is his last chance. Joe Douglas actually said it. This was his quote, that Mekhi knows that this is his last chance. He's taking it very seriously. He's been working with our coaching staff. And we've seen, look at the pictures. We've seen it. We can only hope, because this is the last year. We obviously are not picking up his 5th-year option for $10 million. We're not doing that. So this is his last chance to not even only prove it to the league, but prove it to himself, to his son, his newborn son, that, hey, I'm an NFL player. I can do this. I'm a stud. So Mekhi Becton, the last chance, the last ride, if you will. I'm really excited for what he can do for us this season.
Looks like Wudi is ready to get hurt again. Mekhi, he looked good. There was some pictures of him. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight, which is good to see. and he is an exciting one to get back next year. Did go a different route. I mean, I so badly want to say Lamar Jackson here. Who am I most excited to see in 2023? I want to say whoever the hell our quarterback is, because that is the missing piece. The missing piece is quarterback. I'm really inclined to just say whoever the hell the quarterback is. But we got to pick players here. These Jets worked their butt off all season, and I cannot think of anybody I'm more excited about on this New York Jets team for 2023 than Breece Hall. I mean, this guy averaged nearly 6 yards per attempt. He had 66 yards per game. He was averaging only over 7 games. He was our leading rusher and played literally half the games, less than half the games than anybody else played. Michael Carter played in 16. He ran for 402. Breece Hall ran 7 games and he hit 463. He also had 20 first downs this season. The next highest first down totals were tied for Michael Carter and Zonovan Knight at 14. I mean, Breece Hall just absolutely if you go down the line, all the stats that he was able to put up, with his short season, absolutely incredible work. A full year of him playing not only would have gotten us into the playoffs, and I don't think I could say that about anybody. If we're talking about one single player, if we got the full season out of him, I think Breece Hall is probably the only one on this roster that you could definitively say we would have been in the playoffs if we got him for the whole year. And I think that really just goes to show how much of a game changer he is. So 2023 Breece Hall, I cannot wait. Let's freaking ride, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So that trio, it's an exciting trio because it's 3 players, all on offense, all on their rookie deals. So you can kind of tell what Take Flight Talk has been thinking about, been looking forward to. We got Garrett Wilson, the established stud. Breece Hall, the also pretty established stud, who will be returning from injury. And then Mekhi Becton, who will just be returning from injury. As the 3, as the trio for most excited to see in 2023. And
can I give a quick honorable mention before we move on?
Yeah, of course.
This one you guys might laugh. Maybe not. I've got my next guy as what the hell is his name? Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson was a little bit disappointing this season. I mean, he had such high expectations, coming in. He did just come off a very nasty injury. I don't think we really got the full Carl Lawson all season, but he was a problem. He did have a lot of rushed, passes for the quarterback, still got 7 sacks. I think he's going to come back in his second year from this injury, an absolute monster. If we retain him, I've heard a couple rumors we might cut him, try to open up some cap space. I hope we don't. But if we do, Jermaine Johnson and co are still there and we would be okay. But I would love to see Carl Lawson with an extended Quinnen Williams on this defensive line.
I will say, if Carl Lawson is cut, that's $15 million of savings with no dead cap. So he is definitely a prime candidate to be cut. I actually also don't want to cut him because his impact was beyond the stat sheet. So, I mean, if they can, rework a deal, I know Mosley is definitely the leading candidate for that because they don't want to lose Mosley. But they also don't want to pay him $21 million this year. So I know they're trying to do that. But Lawson is the most savings and least dead cap of any player on the entire team.
Yep.
And knowing that you have JJ and Clemens and Bryce Huff, all great guys back there, that kind of makes him look a little bit more expendable. But hopefully we keep Carl because he is a beast, and he was coming off his Achilles. That's a big deal. So
Fitz, I'm a little surprised you said that because I personally thought you were going to say Zach Wilson. That is who I thought was your first pick. We all know you love him.
Abby's
Oh
been
my
reading my mail.
gosh.
She's been reading my mail.
Hey, Zach could have easily won funniest New York Jet. Let's be honest.
Ain't nothing funny about what he done to us, Abby. Ain't nothing funny. If I was a Bills or a Dolphins fan, I'd be taking Zach as the funniest on the Jets, but not me. Not me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, there have been some funny memes on Zach. I mean, he's definitely been one of the easiest to rag on. But hey, maybe, he's a prime candidate for this next award. We got one award left, right, for this inaugural first annual Take Flight Talk New York Jets Awards. And it's a big one, right? It's the only one that's not like, player of the year of the, this is team spirit, all gas, no break, right? We were keeping receipts, but then we lost them. We have no idea where these receipts are. Can't get the return. We got this new organization, Robert Salah. Zach does Zach have the spirit? He's not responsible for that loss in New England. Is he a nomination? Fitz, talk to us. Who was your pick for the team spirit of the New York Jets?
Well, considering how much time Zach Wilson got benched and he was on the sideline with his little pom-poms, he was definitely eligible for this, but absolutely not. I'm taking CJ Uzomah. CJ Uzomah, I mean, this guy had 14 more receiving yards than Breece Hall, who only played 7 games. CJ Uzomah was an absolute non-factor in the pass game this season. However, he was a great team leader. You could see it, when he's talking to the guys, the team clearly loved him. He's always smiles, uplifting with everybody on the sidelines. I think he's a great guy for a locker room. I think CJ Uzomah is just one of those textbook locker room guys that, although his role was not so much on the receiving end this season, he did do a lot of blocking and roll off blocks. And, we either got sacked or Zach Wilson was looking in the sidelines, looking for his mom's friend's seats in the stands. Didn't find him, but CJ Uzomah did have a couple fun plays this season. Sadly, both of our tight ends are slow as Christmas. They come around once a year. But CJ Uzomah was a blast to have at the sidelines. The players seem to love him. So I'm taking CJ Uzomah, team spirit. Rah, rah. Who we got, Abby?
So I talked a lot earlier about Garrett Wilson being a star. The night nomination is a star. He's worldwide. You don't know him, there's something wrong with you because he went viral overnight. And my Team Spirit Award is no other than Johnny Ice Cream.
Oh, there we go.
We need to protect this kid at all costs. And unfortunately, he only got ice cream 7 times this year. Kid deserved way more ice cream. And like I said, I had people who aren't even Jets fans know who this kid is, send me the memes, and they're like, he is the most adorable thing. And you've seen him at games, jumping around, excited. He met with, obviously, Sauce Gardner. Sauce promised him a lot of ice cream. He should have had more. But, we need to protect this kid at all costs. So I'm going Johnny Ice Cream. Hopefully we can get him some sprinkles and some little whipped cream on top too.
Well, my pick for this award, the last nomination of this award season, is a free agent that I was hoping to talk about, actually, because if we did a free agent of the year, he would be my pick. And I think with Salah, Joe Douglas, the team that they're trying to build, if they could have a clone of this one guy, his mentality, his makeup, everything, they would do it. They would do it because this is what they wanted, a guy with a chip on his shoulder that will work hard each and every day to perfect his craft. And not only that, but be contagious, be a leader amongst his peers. You always see in all the clips, he's the one in the huddles giving the speeches. CJ Mosley's the captain, but it's always DJ Reed's voice that we're hearing propelling these guys to victory. I mean, or or to defeat, because we lost a lot of games. But still, he is there speaking a lot. I mean, DJ Reed, the all gas, no brakes, chip on the shoulder, just loves playing ball. I mean, he really, truly embodies everything that it means to be a New York Jet under this regime. DJ Reed, it is an honor to be a fan of you. Here's my pick for the Team Spirit Award. So, with that last award, that means these last 3 nominations are CJ Uzoma, all right, Johnny Ice Cream. We need to get that boy more ice cream because he deserves it. And then DJ Reed. Whoo! Those are the nominees of the first ever.
Wudi, we just put together our nominations for these 6 prestigious awards. Tell us how the fans get to vote for them.
Oh, well, for the next 48 hours on IG, we're talking take_flight_talk on IG. Vote. All right, you will be able to vote. We'll put up clips of this episode, obviously, and the nominees of each award. So we got the 6 awards, not 18 nominees, I think 17. And then you'll be able to vote there, right? Tilly tally, all that. And then on Thursday, there'll be the post announcing it's as prestigious as you can get, right? Forget about NFL honors. Who cares about NFL honors where you could be a TFT legend right here this Thursday? So vote on IG, and that's where you'll see the winners. All right.
Love it.
Let's go.
How you guys feeling? Are you guys excited?
I'm hyped. We had a good list, honestly, and a well-rounded list too at that.
Definitely. As much as I wanted to say, the same people every time, I mean, there were a lot of, notable people that, deserved recognition, Denzel Mims was not one of them, but, there's a whole bunch of people out there, that deserved recognition. And I hope they, they get the votes. All right. So you guys got to get out there and vote. Obviously, that's the only way this is going to work is if you guys get out there and vote. I'll be voting. Everybody will vote. My grandma will be voting. Everybody will be voting. And my I'll pass it around for everybody for closing thoughts. But my closing thoughts is that Laken Tomlinson, you fucking suck. All right. He's such a bad signing. You want to talk about somebody who should be cut. It does cost us $5 million in dead cap to cut him. But if we cut him after June 1st, that can be split to 2 years, and we get $15 million savings. I say we need another guard, man. Laken Tomlinson, he sold us on something. I don't know. And we were hyping him up. Pro Bowl guard, Laken Tomlinson. He was a Pro Bowl alternate where the starter got hurt and got called up, so he got to play in the game. I'm not sure if that's the same thing. He sucks. He played all 17 games. There's no excuse for how bad he's been. Fitz, what are you thinking?
I would push back just because we've had so many injuries on the offensive line. I mean, if he's a guy we could have, I mean, like you said, I mean, earlier in the season when he had, Dwayne Brown there, he was pretty good, but he definitely was not the guy that we thought he was going to be. And I would argue and say that I think it was a good signing, with just the fact that he was a Pro Bowler, and even if he was an alternate, it still showed that he had a phenomenal season last year. But it did not translate. And I think it's one of those things. I feel as if there's been a couple now where Joe Douglas has brought in a former, guy that was solid. We had that Carolina Panther that we brought out of retirement. What the hell was his name?
Ryan Khalil.
And he sucked when we brought him in. So I think there's been a couple that are like that, where on paper it's like, all right, he's a former Pro Bowler. That we need people for this offensive line that's just constantly getting hurt. So I don't want to necessarily get rid of him. I would prefer to see a resurgence from him as opposed to just getting rid of him. I'd rather pay the extra $15 million over the 2 years to get a good left guard. Because, I mean, if these pieces that we do have, come together the way we expect them to, Mackay, Tomlinson, Vera Tucker and George Fant, whoever it is at right tackle for next season, plus Connor McGovern, who's been pretty reliable. For us to have a center that's not one of the new pieces that we've gotten, and for us to not be inclined to talk about him is a good thing. I don't want to have to talk about McGovern. And if we're not talking about McGovern, that's a good thing because he's not, doing anything that bad. So I would prefer to see Lakin stay on the team just because who knows if Makai can last. But, we'll see. I think at the very least, he's certainly, if we did a most disappointing Jet, I think he would be 100% getting one of our votes, and I'm pretty sure it would be Woody picking him. But, Abby, what do you got?
Most disappointing Jet is Zach Wilson. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I might have to get my pick for sure.
But I'm going to agree with Fitz. This was kind of back to going earlier. Most excited to see in 2023, Lamar, Derek Carr, Jimmy G. Wudi would probably say Gardner Minshew. Whoever is our quarterback next year. It's a huge puzzle piece that's missing. Honestly, that would help kind of, we talked about Brees, we talked about Garrett Wilson, we talked about Mekhi Becton. All of that is formed around the offense. All of it's going to be centered around that QB situation. Wudi, I'm surprised you didn't bring up, I know I was teasing Fitz earlier about Zach. You love Braden Mann. So I just thought you would have given him some sort of award.
Yeah. Oh my God. He probably would have been my pick for most. I don't even know. He's definitely close to the most disappointing Jet. We've had a few disappointing Jets. Lakin, Zach, Braden Mann has been playing like a boy. All right, Braden boy. Corey Davis, man. I feel like we gotta cut Corey too, man. Like we're giving him a lot of money to just be hurt, and when he plays, getting 30 yards a game. But yeah, Braden Mann is trash. If he's on the team next year, I don't know who I got slapped, but somebody getting slapped. Fitz, I'm hoping one of us is mistaken about Lakin. And honestly, I hope it's me because that would mean that he has a good year next year. But
well, I ain't make a claim, so I don't know what we're in agreement. Ultimately, I'm just hoping that he has a resurgence. I'm not claiming that it's going to happen. I don't think we necessarily disagree on anything, but if we do keep him, I would love to see him back to his old self. That's all I said. I'm not necessarily expecting it. He's only a year older, so it's if he couldn't do it last season, the clock's ticking. He's a little bit older, right?
I think he might turn 30 this offseason. So he's not he's not Dwayne Brown who's about to retire.
Right. Yeah, I think I mixed up his age with Dwayne Brown.
But with that QB, because obviously, right, we're all like that is like, the biggest factor of everything we're talking about is who is going to be our QB. Everything considered, what it would cost to get them, their actual salary, right? If we have to make a trade and then actual salary, years, age, talent, all those things considered, we can just do a quick round robin of who we would choose, as our Jets QB. I'll start, and I am a big Gardner Minshew fan. He kind of made me look a little foolish in every single start he had this year, but I still think he would be a viable option. But given all those things, my best choice, it's actually Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he's going to come. Somebody who would actually come and play, Derek Carr. That's what I'm going with. Fitz.
Very much disagree on Derek Carr. I think in the AFC specifically, I think my main reason for not wanting Carr, or really most other people.
Damn, I just wanted to hear your pick. You ain't got to shit on mine.
Well, no, but that's a name that's being discussed, and I think this is the big names people are talking about are Carr, Lamar, Jimmy G. Those are the three hottest possible names. And the reason why I've got Carr and Jimmy G lower on the list, and I want my main man Lamar, is the AFC this conference is different. If we were in the NFC, I'd say Carr or Jimmy G probably could work, Jimmy G, the only issue really with him is injury problem. I mean, the guy had a 4-to-1 touchdown to pick ratio this season and a 67% completion percentage. I think that mold is perfect for what the Jets need. 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio and a high completion percentage. That is honestly, a healthy Jimmy G doing that stat line. That is I think, ideal circumstance. However, I have zero trust and confidence that Jimmy G can stay healthy for a whole season. And who knows if he can even do this consistently. So he is not at the top of the list. Derek Carr had a horrible 4 games leading into his benching when he had his best friend, Devontae Adams, and the leading rusher in the league behind him at running back, plus Darren Waller. And he got benched, and he was very hot and cold this season. Maybe a different offensive coordinator can help get him back to some former success. I don't know if I necessarily say glory, but former, relative success. I hope that's the case for him. I've got nothing against him personally. But Lamar Jackson, when you go and look at the AFC and the strength of quarterbacks that we're going up against, Mahomes, Josh Allen, you got Joe Burrow, you have a laundry list of stud, game-changing quarterbacks in the AFC. And for Joe Burrow to take the Bengals from the laughingstock of the NFL for the last multiple decades. Andy Dalton gave him a couple flashes of don't worry, don't take them too lightly, but that's about as high as they got in decades. And for Joe Burrow to be the one man, plus getting his boy Jamar, obviously, but Joe Burrow was the game-changing factor for the Bengals to go to a Super Bowl, and now they're more than likely going to make a run for the AFC conference. And just considering how important that QB position is, and when you get a guy that is that much of a game changer, Lamar rushing for 100+ yards a game, being able to pass with success, him having the weapons that we have in New York, I think Lamar Jackson would really be the guy that could be a win now Super Bowl, turn us into a win now Super Bowl team. I do not see Jimmy G staying healthy for a full season. I do not see Derek Carr being able to win now when he just had an opportunity. Obviously, it was very different defenses that we have when you compare the Raiders and the Jets. But Derek Carr had a win now offense. And, unfortunately, it wasn't enough. I mean, there's a few factors outside of just Carr that we could potentially blame. Offensive coordinator, could be one of them, having to put up too many points per game because your defense stinks, sure. But I think Lamar Jackson is the most well-rounded, biggest addition that we can go and add to this team, especially when you factor in, one of the reasons we brought in Zach was, he could kind of run a little bit. Turns out he couldn't really run a little bit. It turns out that whenever he does run, he puts his head down. He doesn't look downfield to try to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson being able to have that true dual threat would completely throw defenses off on their ass. They would not be able to prepare for us. Same as you struggle to prepare against the Ravens offense when you go up against them. So I'm most excited for Lamar. Rant over. Abby, what you got?
There's a difference between who I want and who's the most realistic. So who I want is Lamar Jackson for the same reasons you talked about, Fitz. We need a dynamic quarterback, and he can do it. Now, his knee injury, a little concerning, but he's still pretty young. But the issue with him is we'd have to give up a lot for him. And that is another issue I'm uncomfortable with. Now, that is who I would want. Realistic, it looks like Derek Carr, to be honest. He stayed healthy. He hasn't really been hurt since 2017. At the same time, while I feel like we need a dynamic quarterback, at the same time, we just need one who can get the job done. And I feel like he can get the job done. He's been through a lot with the Raiders. I mean, coaches. But the one thing I do like about Derek Carr is the Raiders have a certain culture. Their fans are obnoxious. They're one of the worst. But what I'm talking about is that same culture. You need to be able to handle it. And he obviously can. And I think if he obviously can transition over to New York, he's kind of used to that whole fan base and all of that. So it might give him a little bit of a motivational push. But we have it put together enough where I don't think we need, we just need someone who's competent, can get the job done. But ideally, like I said, I'm all for Lamar Jackson. I think kid's a stud. But like I said, he's going to want a lot of money. And that's going to be a lot of draft picks for us and things like that. So
Give up the future. Give up the
it's really
hand over the picks, hand over the money, pay the man.
You do that for like a top 5 quarterback in the league. I don't think Lamar has. I mean, I know he's a former MVP, but they were gushing over the rushing numbers. I mean, Lamar really hasn't shown that he is a consistent passer. I cannot say he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL when there are people like you already said, Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes walking. He is a versatile asset, dual threat. I mean, he's really the one that's ushered in this new era of dual threats like Jalen Hurts and all that. But we have not seen him play football in weeks. We don't know if he, where he's at there without his speed. Like let's say for some reason Lamar Jackson had to play more of a pocket game. Could he do it? Is he still going to be a top 12 dynamic player? That when we are signing ourselves up to give him like $50 million, right? He already turned down a deal from the Ravens where he was getting 45. The man turned down 45 from an actual organization that knows how to run itself. Right now, we're talking the Jets, who have been a laughingstock for decades, like the Bengals. He's going to ask for more money. We got to give up multiple first-round picks. We are completely cutting off our future for what is very largely a question mark. And I don't think people understand how big of a question mark it truly is because we're name chasing. And unfortunately in New York, that's what we do a lot is chase names. But honestly, like Lamar, isn't a consistent passer. If he can't run, he might suck altogether. And, knees give out. RG3 was looking like a stud. And then his knees gave out. I am not saying at all, please do not ever say that I said that Derek Carr is that guy. He's not him. But Derek Carr is a good quarterback. He's accurate. He's a good leader. Okay. And since 2014, no one in the NFL has more game-winning drives than him, right? He's clutch. He can be clutch. All right. He actually led a game-winning drive to ensure that the Raiders made the playoffs last year with a roster that was much worse than this year's roster. So the roster got better and the team got worse. Well, what happened? Josh McDaniels can't coach. All right. They already tried that. And he couldn't coach, and then he had to go back, tuck his tail between his legs, and coach under Bill Belichick. Now he's trying again, and he sucks. He sucks. He got rid of the OC that Derek Carr liked, that got them to the state of relevance that they were in, and they suck. So I'm thinking, based on what it would take, we wouldn't have to lose a single pick, right? Once Derek Carr gets cut, we don't have to give him $50 million. We don't even have to give him $40 million. I'm thinking we can get him for somewhere in the 20s, right? And sign Greg Olsen, that same OC that now works for the Rams, right? And Sean McVay, all that, and get them together to see what they can do here with a top 10 defense, at least top 10 defense. I think that is a realistic way to find ourselves playing games late with a quarterback that's a good leader, with a quarterback that we know can get game-winning drives and can do all that. I think that's just the safest way to do it, because worst case scenario with that is that Derek Carr isn't really that good, and we still have the pieces that we have. We can still re-sign them and maybe even draft another, and start this whole But worst case scenario with Lamar, we can't do anything because we have no picks for years, and we don't have any cap space for years. And we just have this big albatross around our neck of a quarterback that won an MVP years ago, but can't do anything right now. So the worst case scenario is way different. And obviously best case scenario is way different, but the cost, right? I'm about to draw up a graph right now. I just think that Derek Carr is the best, safest, but also high yield choice that we can do at QB.
That's fair. I think the last thing I'll say on this, because we're gonna do like a whole episode, I think, on quarterbacks in the coming weeks. Lamar has, I think he only had every single one of his seasons so far, he's at least 700 yards rushing besides one. And I think he was like 5 yards short. So, I mean, the total value that he brings, we're talking about, is he really a pocket passer or not? Who cares what he is? I don't care what he is. The guy wins games. The guy's a competitor. He is a winner. And if we're talking about this from a couple ways, Wudi, you mentioned, possibly cutting Corey Davis. I'd prefer not to do that, but I get it. And he's probably on the line to get chopped. I think when he's healthy, he's a reliable guy that finds ways to get open. But I mean, when it comes to selling the future away, I mean, Wudi, you also said during your time, you mentioned, we're always trying to chase the sexy name. When did we ever get it though? Like, what's the set? Like Brett Favre?
Le'Veon Bell.
We have not gotten any of the sexy names when it comes to quarterbacks.
We overpaid for Le'Veon Bell. That was like 3 years ago.
Right. Le'Veon Bell, who held out the year before and didn't have a single piece of practice and went to the coaching staff of Adam Gase. That's an example that you're absolutely right about, but that is one that didn't have a chance in hell on the onset. With this team, if we bring in Lamar Jackson, this is going to be the first time that we've actually had a coaching staff that's competent, as well as a team in their rookie contracts that can go and win today. We need a win today quarterback. And I'll tell you what, the more that we go and delay investing in the quarterback position, which every other perennial Super Bowl contender team does, the Bills, the Chiefs, they all dump the bag on their quarterback. It's about
time. But they have a top 5 quarterback. Like by any imagination, Patrick Mahomes is literally no lower than like 2. Josh Allen is like no lower than 2.
No question. But Lamar Jackson, in a full season, when he is healthy, he is not far outside of the top 5 when he's able to play. And if you go and have him come to a team like the New York Jets, where we actually have a complete offense, they've got a committee at running back, and they've got, besides Mark Andrews, nobody too impressive to throw to. And, Lamar has not had a ton of big name receivers, if any, that he's had to throw. He had Hollywood Brown for a brief stint, and he really hit his mark largely after he left. Hollywood Brown was he had a ton of drops for Lamar. So if we want to kind of have some questions about, who Lamar is as a passer, we should also have some questions for, did Baltimore actually give him the receivers he needed to be successful? Did they build an offense around him? I'd argue no. I think they did fail him on that. So sure, there maybe are some questions about, what he can do, but I think he still was able to maximize what he had in Baltimore during his time there, and to be able to find that success, throwing about 64% completion, over almost a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio over his career, for him to go and do that, and then give him Garrett Wilson, then give him Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore would have the resurgence that he was supposed to have this season. You'd go in, and not to mention, I think there's another factor here when you look at what happens when you bring in a Lamar type. When if we're going to get rid of Corey Davis, we're going to have to replace him with somebody. Lamar Jackson could be a recruiter for us to get some more wide receivers to come into town. Like, I want to play with my boy Lamar. Because guess what? Derek Carr, he ain't going to be the guy that's going to get some free agents to show up.
I mean, Davante Adams was pretty excited to play with Derek Carr. I mean,
they went to college together. They had the reunion, and he still got benched because he wasn't good enough.
So that's what I'm talking about. Josh McDaniels. Like, look at the coaching. Look at the coaching that we fired LaFleur because of coaching. Okay, Derek Carr, literally the year before, was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. You think he just randomly just sucks out the no? Like, their game plan was off. Like, Josh McDaniels does not know what he is doing as a head coach. It was a bad hire that they're not going to admit yet, but they might have to admit in the middle of next year, like they did with Nathaniel Hackett. I'm telling you right now. I mean, Davante Adams is the most high-profile receiver, and he has been on record saying, even though he's so wrong by saying this, saying that Derek Carr is a Hall of Famer, which he is not at all. But, he has people that have faith in him. Lamar definitely has people that have faith in him as well. But do we have faith that the Lamar Jackson that you keep referencing is going to exist for the next 5 years? Like, running quarterbacks get beat up. Lamar hasn't even played a full season ever. There's not one season where Lamar played every game. And you're expecting him to keep up at this pace and actually like not, like get hurt or like, be the same. That doesn't happen because people are human beings and their bodies break down. So I cannot definitively say throw it all to Lamar, because I know for a fact for the next 5 years, we're going to see this same player who's getting 700 rushing yards at least continue. Because if he keeps going this way and getting knee injuries, PCL tears for, chunks of games at a time, he won't be able to be that player. And that investment that the Chiefs put in Mahomes, they know that Patrick would be able to perform at this high level for the foreseeable future. All right, Josh Allen, he does play a very physical style, but his body has not broken down at all. So, right, he can continue to play this style. Lamar Jackson is a huge, huge risk, and it would be so Jets to take the risk. In 2 years, he's like RB3. Yeah, like, the Jets just suck. Like, that's just the most Jets thing we can do. So that's just what I'm thinking. But
let's just get Tom Brady and call it a day, okay?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
I'm here for it. TB12.
You two will be here for it, not I. Well, we're going to go and come back here and bring you the quarterback special. Stay tuned for the announcement date of when we get that scheduled for. But Abby, we just had a lot of Wudi and Matt screaming at each other on Lamar. Why don't you give us some closing remarks on quarterback and what's next for us?
I'll save all the quarterback talk for right now. What I am going to get back to is make sure you guys vote for the awards. And then, I have my beanie here. I don't know why I didn't put it on. I'm like, time to land this shit. I'm trying to land this plane. So I'm going to leave you how I always leave you. One word, 4 letters, Jets, Jets. You already know.